Good morning, Nigeria. As always, here on TVC, we have a finger on the pulse and our eye on the streets. And we do our best to bring you trending stories, indeed from Nigeria and across the globe, in order to have some decent, interesting, and hopefully productive dialogue about these stories. In our first development, President Bola Tinubu has called on security agencies to respect Nigerians' right to free speech, saying that critics must not be hounded for expressing their views. Now, speaking during his Democracy Day address at the National Assembly complex yesterday, the president issued a clear directive to security agencies. He says critics must not be hounded for expressing dissent or analysis of his office. By addressing these criticisms head-on, President Bola Tinubu sought to assure the press and the wider public that their free expression remains protected under his leadership. And he stressed that democracy thrives on dialogue and not suppression. I love the president's address in that part where he said, you know, you can write a bad report about me. That is fine. There's been a lot of sentiment. People say, oh, the press is not free. But the president has come out now to say, make your report, write your report. There is freedom of speech. This is still a democracy. And so I love that he came to clear that up on camera. Let's take a look at social media. The best leaders are always open to critique and getting better. At PhD Fact says, he also said it in the New Year's message to governors. He said, let me take the blame, the abuses, and you take the applause and the glory. All at official ABAT was concerned with is development and prosperity across our sub-national. Let's take a look at two more tweets. At Joseph Khan says, this is the first time I find myself in agreement with the president. At Police, I hope you've taken note of his recent remarks. People should be allowed to express their dissatisfaction with politicians. Please stop attempting to suppress free speech. Interesting. That is a timely address by the president in regards to the press. I hope you guys are hearing. Good journalism starts with being honest. In our next story, as we round up celebrations of Democracy Day, some news about Nigeria's not-so-democratic past is trending online. An explosive interview has resurfaced featuring Harold Smith, an Englishman who served in Nigeria during the final years of colonial rule. Now, Smith joined the British colonial service in 1954 and was posted to Lagos in 1955. And he worked in the Ministry of Labour under the administration of the Governor-General James Robertson. In this interview that's now resurfaced, he makes startling claims, alleging that the British government blackmailed Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe into cooperating with their agenda in exchange for being made Nigeria's first president. Take a look at this short clip.
All the politicians' phones were tapped. All the politicians' mail was opened. Everything that any major politician did in Nigeria, we knew in hours. We watched. We knew all that was going on.
Are you saying, in essence, that Dr. Azikiwe took money?
He was blackmailed by the British to do our bidding. We told Dr. Azikiwe that he could go to prison if an inquiry was carried out into his bank and his financial circumstances.
Now, if these revelations made by Harold Smith are true, they of course raise serious questions about the integrity of Nigeria's path to independence and the extent of British influence on our early political leadership. If our past leaders were installed based on British interests as opposed to the will of the people, it does raise serious questions about the concept of democracy, as we discussed yesterday. We have discussed several times about the effects of neocolonialism in Nigeria. A lot of people say that the ethnic tensions and the regional imbalances and division that we face is as a result of colonial interests and colonial forces that were put in place. And so, as we saw yesterday, it's important to look at history in order to better look forward. Let's take a look at social media. At Ndubuisi Mba says, how do you come to this conclusion that Azikiwe was not a good person because of this? You clearly heard the man say that they tapped all our politicians' phones and mails and that he was blackmailed to do their bidding, that he loathed northern politicians at the time. Or is there something else? We'll take another two tweets. At Ifeanyi Alex says, this is a problem with having a compromised individual in the helm of an affair. He will be a pawn in the hand of the West. We have never really had a nation. And finally, Let's see the final submission. Matthew Afolabi says, a president who is willing to take Nigeria out of foreign control will need to be incredibly smart and have incredible power support from Nigerian citizens. That is the only way to a free Nigeria. In another development, a female student at the Ogun State Institute of Technology, Igbesa, formerly Gateway Polytechnic, Igbesa, has been severely beaten by her fellow students over accusations of snatching a boyfriend. In a disturbing video that went viral earlier this week, several female students were seen flogging the victim with thick canes. In this video that you're seeing, the attackers were openly claiming that their mothers were aware of their actions, and they insisted that they didn't care who the victim involved or reported the case to. This is so flagrant. Now, this victim was left, as you can see, with visible injuries to her back, her body, and her head. Now, despite some students pleading with one of the attackers, identified as a woman called Lolade, to stop the assault, she refused and stated that this beating was intended to indeed teach her a lesson. As you can see, this was very vicious. Now, reacting to the incident, the Ogun State Police Command has confirmed that they have indeed launched an investigation. And in a statement on X, the command revealed that the Igbesa Divisional Police Officer has now taken over this case. This video is very harrowing, as you can see. Look at the bruises on that young lady. Let's take a look at social media. This is a tweet from the Ogun State Police Command's X page. They said, the Ogun State Police Command is on top of the situation and the DPO Igbesa has taken charge of the case. We would like to see a follow-up. We'll take another tweet. At Mudaoye says, thanks for your prompt response. When the police NG respond to issues like this, it will surely bring back the lost trust between the people and the force. Some of these girls that lack proper home training need discipline. Keep up the good work and response time always. But we do need a follow-up. Now, team, this is very interesting. While we discuss the dividends and the effects of democracy in the country, while there's bloodshed in places like Benue and other parts of Nigeria, some girls' biggest problem is snatching boyfriend.
Right, first question is that why they went to school? You know, you went to school to have an education, or maybe that is their brand of education. That is very callous. I'm happy that the police is on it. I believe arrests have been made, especially this girl, this dark girl that seems to be, her blood was boiling. She wanted to do more and so on. Maybe she should be put in a cell for a while to cool off before they start doing anything they want to do. And going back to the Azikiwe story, my question is, why do these men have to come tell us the truth when they are in their 80s? We've had so many, we've had quite a few of them. The guy that injected Bob Marley with whatever, he came out and confessed at that same age, unfortunately.
Picking it up from there, it's sad that we're hearing these things now, and it is true that the British influenced our democracy one way or the other, our independence, the decision made by some of our leaders. It was said that we were not prepared at the time when we became independent because they were pushing for Nigeria to become independent and all of the interest they had. But I'll leave it there. Now for the story of the girls. It's a shame that a fellow lady is doing this to her lady. Where's the so-called boyfriend that cheated on you with another lady? That's the person you should confront and not the lady in question. So you should go face the guy who did this to you. It's sad that at this stage of your life, it is a man you're fighting for, as against fighting for your rights, fighting for education, better education, fighting for the standards of better living for yourself and improving on the status of your life so that you can help other young girls and your family. This is what you are looking forward to doing with your life. It's sad.
Very shameful, I must say, and I hope the authorities really put her to book. I say once you fight over a man, the man was never yours, or the man is not supposed to be yours. And I'm sure the men on the table, you know, they agree with me. And you should be beating the man. Olamide, I don't understand it. And men on the table too, let me bring this to you. I don't understand it why a man would cheat and the woman would go and beat the girl. Why not beat the man? The man carried himself to the girl. And you cannot snatch a man. A man that wants to be snatched will be snatched. If a man doesn't want to be snatched, nobody can snatch him. So I hate that ideology. Nelson, is it possible?
As a man, why are you snatchable?
No, wait, exactly. Okay, let me ask Nelson. If you have a girlfriend, you tell me that somebody can snatch you from your girlfriend. You wanted to be snatched. So I think that we need to reform ourselves when it comes to things like this. And also, let me go to the president where he spoke about freedom of speech. I love it. I love the fact that he's willing to take criticism and he's allowing us as journalists to do our job. That's really beautiful.
The president has always never been averse to criticism. But you know that question where you ask me, if you ask me, who am I to ask?
Now see,
How? Right. However, it's really sad to see teenage girls, because that's what I would sum them to be, snowball into such an act. The police say they are on top of this. There is absolutely nothing here to investigate. Oga Police, this is what you people should do. Line those girls who flogged that girl. Flog them very well. When you're done flogging them, then we can now investigate what led to the flogging. Because you can't do that to somebody and expect to be English to be banded. No, we don't speak English on this, but we flog you too. You receive the flogging. Then we can start having other kinds of conversation. I mean, because some of these things, sometimes we treat matters with kid gloves, and that's what empowers other people to continue doing the same thing. If they are flogged publicly, another person will not do it. Some other time we'll see acid being poured. No, we pour you acid back. Exactly. If we do like that, you won't do it now.
This one is the law of an eye for an eye.
Exactly.
And the girl, she just sat there quiet. It's so sad. It's really, really sad.
Honestly. I can't help but think about the fact that man is the boyfriend.
And the man,
I'm
guess what? He might be somewhere cheating
I'm sorry
again.
this happened to you.
He may be somewhere cheating again.
But do you know one thing that we're also not talking about is those boys there that were filming. Are you not supposed to? If the lady was your sister, would you sit there and be looking at what's happening?
Yeah, I agree.
I hope that their focus changes from men to more important and pertinent issues. I'm going to snatch myself back to the rest of the